Pack your things and get out, Dad says, standing in my bedroom doorway. You have until tonight. I look up from my laptop. What? You heard me. You're 25 years old, living here rent-free, contributing nothing. It's time you learn to stand on your own defeat. But it's my birthday. Today is I know what day it is. That's exactly why we're doing this today. Consider it our birthday gift to you. Independence. Mom appears behind him. She won't meet my eyes. We think this is what's best for you, Lauren. You need to grow up. I stare at them, try to process what's happening. They're kicking me out on my 25th birthday, giving me less than 12 hours to find somewhere to live. Where am I supposed to go? That's for you to figure out, Dad says. We've coddled you long enough. Time to learn how the real world works. I want to argue. Want to tell them they have no idea what they're talking about. Want to show them my bank statements, my investment portfolios, the stock options I've been quietly accumulating. But I don't. I just nod. Start packing. Because here's what they do know. I've been the one paying their mortgage for the past 3 years. Their car payments, their credit card bills, everything. They think I'm a freeloading failure. They have no idea I'm the reason they still have a house to kick me out of. But they're about to find out, because the first mortgage payment without my help is due in 2 weeks. And I'm not saying a word. I'm just going to let the bank statements talk instead. But let me back up. Let me tell you about the 3 years I spent secretly supporting my parents, and what happened when they threw me out without knowing the truth. I moved back home when I was 22, fresh out of college with a computer science degree. I had a job offer at a major tech company in another state. Good salary, benefits, everything I'd worked for. But Dad had just been diagnosed with cancer. Stage 3, aggressive treatment needed. Mom was overwhelmed. I know you have that job offer, Mom said on the phone, crying. But we really need you here right now, just for a few months, until your father gets through treatment. So I turned down the job, moved back home, got a remote position with a smaller tech company instead. Less money, less prestige, but it meant I could be there for them. Dad went through chemo, radiation, surgery. It was brutal. Mom couldn't work much. She was his full-time caregiver. Their savings started draining fast. Medical bills piled up. Even with insurance, the out-of-pocket costs were staggering. $15,000, $20,000, $30,000. I watched their bank account dwindle, watched them stress about money on top of everything else. So I started helping, quietly, without telling them. I'd been living at home for 6 months when I made my first payment. Their mortgage was overdue. I logged into their bank account. Mom had given me access when Dad got sick, in case of emergencies, and transferred $3,000 from my account to theirs. Then I paid the mortgage from their account, made it look like they'd done it themselves. Mom noticed the account balance was higher than she expected. Did the insurance payment come through? She asked Dad. Must have, he said, too tired from chemo to question it. I did it again the next month, and the next. Mortgage, car payments, utilities. Whatever they couldn't cover, I covered. Always transferring money into their account first, then paying from theirs, making it look like they had more money than they actually did. They never questioned it. They were too overwhelmed with Dad's treatment, too exhausted to track finances carefully. They just assumed their savings were lasting longer than expected. Dad beat cancer, went into remission after 18 months of treatment. It was a miracle, but by then, their savings were gone, completely wiped out. And they still had no idea I'd been propping them up financially. I kept doing it because Dad needed time to recover, to get strong enough to work again. And Mom was still burnt out from caregiving. Just a few more months, I told myself, just until they get back on their feet. But months turned into a year, then 2 years, then 3. I was 25 years old, still living at home, still working remotely, still paying most of their bills without them knowing. And they thought I was a freeloader. When are you going to move out and get a real job? Dad would ask at dinner. I have a real job. I'm a software engineer, working from your bedroom in your pajamas. That's not a real job. That's not building a career. I make good money. Do you? Because you're not paying rent. You're not contributing to household expenses. You're just here, taking up space. I could have told him the truth, could have shown him the bank transfers, proved that I'd been paying their mortgage, their car payments, their credit cards for 3 years, but I didn't, because I didn't want them to feel guilty, didn't want them to feel like a burden during Dad's recovery. I thought I was being kind, generous, supportive, I didn't realize they saw me as a failure. Mom was slightly more sympathetic. Lauren is still figuring things out, she'd say when Dad complained. Give her time. But even she started pushing. Don't you want your own place? Your own life? Most people your age are living independently. I'm helping you guys. Helping us? Sweetie, you're living here rent-free. We're helping you. The irony was suffocating, but I still didn't correct them. I kept working, kept earning. My salary had grown. I was making $110,000 a year now, plus stock options, plus investments I'd been making with the money I didn't spend on rent. I had nearly $200,000 in savings and investments, more than my parents had ever had. But they thought I was broke, directionless, a burden. And I let them think it, because telling them the truth meant revealing just how badly their finances had collapsed. Meant making Dad feel guilty for getting sick, meant making Mom feel guilty for not working. I couldn't do that to them. So I stayed quiet, kept paying their bills, kept letting them think I was the problem. Until my 25th birthday, when they decided it was time for tough love. I came downstairs on my birthday morning expecting maybe a card, maybe breakfast, some acknowledgement that it was my birthday. Instead, Dad was waiting in the kitchen with a stern expression. Sit down. We need to talk. I sat. Mom came in, looking uncomfortable. Lauren, your mother and I have been discussing your situation, Dad said, and we've decided it's time for you to move out. Move out? You're 25 years old. You've been living here for 3 years. It's time you learn to support yourself. I do support myself. No, you don't. You live here rent-free. You have no expenses, no responsibilities. You work from your bedroom doing God knows what on your computer. That's not adulting, Lauren. That's hiding from life. I'm not hiding. Yes, you are. And we've enabled it long enough. So here's what's going to happen. You have until tonight to pack your things and find somewhere else to live. Yes. I stared at him. Tonight? You're kicking me out today? Yes, today. Your birthday. Consider it our gift to you. The gift of independence. But where am I supposed to go? That's for you to figure out. Call friends. Look for an apartment. Get a hotel room. I don't care. But you can't stay here anymore. Mom finally spoke. We're doing this because we love you, honey. You need to learn to stand on your own. I wanted to laugh, wanted to cry, wanted to scream. Stand on my own? I'd been standing on my own while holding them up for 3 years, but I didn't say any of that, just nodded. Okay, I'll pack. I went upstairs, sat on my bed, looked around my childhood room. I could tell them, right now, show them the bank statements, prove I'd been paying their bills. But what would that accomplish? They'd feel guilty, embarrassed. Maybe they'd let me stay, but it would be out of obligation, out of shame. I didn't want that. If they wanted me gone this badly, fine, I'd go. But I'd stop paying their bills, stop propping them up, stop protecting them from the financial reality they didn't even know they were in. I pulled out my laptop, logged into my bank account, canceled all the automatic transfers I'd set up, mortgage payment, car payments, credit cards, utilities, everything. Then I started packing. 3 years of living at home fit into 4 suitcases and some boxes. I called my friend Nina. Can I crash at your place for a few days? I'll explain later. Of course. What happened? My parents kicked me out on my birthday. What? Why? They think I'm a freeloader. They want me to learn independence. That's insane. You have a good job. I know. I'll explain everything when I get there. Can I come over now? Yes, absolutely. I loaded my car. 4 trips up and down the stairs. Dad watched from the living room. Didn't offer to help. Mom stood in the kitchen crying but didn't try to stop him. I put the last box in my car, walked back inside one more time. I'm going now, I said. Dad nodded. This is for the best. You'll see. A few months of real-world struggle will do you good. Yeah, probably. Mom hugged me. Call us when you get settled. Let us know you're okay. Sure. I got in my car, drove away, watched the house disappear in my rearview mirror. The house I'd been paying for, that they didn't even know. I didn't cry, just drove to Nina's apartment, unloaded my things, sat on her couch. Okay, Nina said. Explain. Why did your parents kick you out? They think I'm a failure, a freeloader, living at home doing nothing. But you're a software engineer. You make good money. I know, but they don't know that. They think remote work isn't a real job. Did you tell them how much you make? No, why not? I took a deep breath. Because for the past 3 years, I've been using that money to pay their mortgage and bills. They have no idea. They think they're supporting me. In reality, I've been supporting them. Nina's mouth fell open. What? I told her everything. Dad's cancer, the medical bills, the depleted savings, the secret payments I'd been making. So you've been paying their mortgage for 3 years and they kicked you out for being a freeloader? Yes. Are you going to tell them? No, I'm going to let them figure it out on their own. The mortgage is due in 2 weeks. Let's see what happens when the payment doesn't go through. That's cold, maybe. But they made their choice. They wanted me out. I'm out. What happens next is their problem. Nina shook her head. Your parents are idiots. Yeah, but they're about to be idiots with a mortgage default notice. I stayed with Nina for a week. Then I found an apartment. 1 bedroom, nice building, good location, $1,500 a month. I could afford it easily. I'd been saving most of my salary while living at home. I had first month last month, security deposit ready immediately. I moved in, bought furniture, set up my home office, started my life as an officially independent adult. And I waited. 2 weeks after they kicked me out, the mortgage payment was due. I didn't make the transfer, didn't pay it, just let it sit there, unpaid. I imagined Dad checking the bank account, seeing the balance was lower than expected, realizing the mortgage payment was due and there wasn't enough to cover it. I imagined him trying to figure out what happened, where the money went, why they were suddenly short. 3 days after the due date, Mom called. Hi, honey. How are you? How's the new apartment? Fine. Good. That's great. Listen, I have a weird question. Did you ever have access to our bank account? For when your father was sick? My heart rate picked up. Yeah, you gave me access in case of emergencies. Why? Did you ever move money around? Transfer things? Sometimes. If you asked me to pay a bill for you, why? It's just, our mortgage payment didn't go through. And I could have sworn we had enough money. But the account is short. I'm trying to figure out what happened. Weird. Maybe you miscalculated? Maybe. I'm not great with money. I'm going to call the bank, see if there was a mistake. Good idea. Let me know what they say. She didn't call back, but Dad did. 3 days later. Lauren, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be honest. Okay. Have you been transferring money into our account? For bills? I could lie, could dodge the question, but what was the point? Yes. Silence. Long, heavy silence. For how long? 3 years. Since Dad got sick. 3 years? You've been paying our bills for 3 years? Yes. Why? Because you needed help. Because Dad's medical bills wiped out your savings. Because I could afford it and you couldn't. Why didn't you tell us? Because you were dealing with cancer. I didn't want you to feel guilty. Didn't want you to worry about money on top of everything else. More silence. Then, how much? How much what? How much have you paid? Total? I pulled up my spreadsheet. I'd been tracking every payment. About $140,000 over 3 years. I heard him gasp. Actually gasp. $140,000? Mortgage? Car payments? Utilities? Credit cards? Everything you couldn't cover while Dad was sick and recovering. Jesus Christ. Lauren, we had no idea. We thought you were living here rent-free. We thought we were supporting you. I know. That's what I wanted you to think. Why? Because I didn't want you to feel like a burden. I wanted you to focus on getting better. So you just paid everything without saying anything? Yes. And when we kicked you out, I stopped. The day you kicked me out, I canceled all the transfers. You're on your own now, like you wanted. Lauren, I have to go. I have a meeting. I hung up, sat in my new apartment, felt nothing. 10 minutes later, Mom called. I didn't answer. She left a voicemail. Lauren, please call us back. We need to talk. We had no idea. Please, call us. I deleted the voicemail. Nina came over that night. I saw your dad called. What did he say? He figured it out. Asked me if I'd been paying their bills. I told him yes. And now they know they've been living in a house I was paying for. And that they kicked me out of it on my birthday. How did he sound? Shocked. Guilty. Probably panicking about how they're going to afford the mortgage. Are you going to help them? No, really? Really? They made it very clear they think I need to learn independence. So that's what I'm doing. And they get to learn what financial independence looks like without me propping them up. That's harsh, is it? They kicked me out on my birthday, called me a freeloader, told me I needed to grow up, all while I was literally paying their bills. I think they earned some harsh. Nina didn't argue. just poured me a glass of wine. Over the next week, my parents called 17 times, left a dozen voicemails, sent countless texts. I ignored all of them. I wasn't angry. I was done. Done being taken for granted. Done being invisible. Done supporting people who saw me as a burden. If they wanted to talk, they could figure out their finances first, could face the consequences of their assumption that I was worthless. Then maybe we'd talk. 3 weeks after I moved out, I finally answered one of Mom's calls. "Lauren, thank God. We've been trying to reach you. I know. I've been busy." "Busy? We're your parents. You can't just ignore us. You kicked me out on my birthday. I think I can ignore you for a few weeks." Silence. Then, "We need to talk. In person, please. Can you come over for dinner?" "Why?" "Because we owe you an apology. A real one. Face to face. Please." I thought about it. "Fine. Sunday, 6 p.m. I'll be there." Sunday came. I drove to their house. The house I'd been paying for, parked in the driveway. Mom opened the door before I could knock. She looked terrible, like she hadn't slept in weeks. "Come in, please." I walked in. Dad was sitting at the kitchen table, looked just as bad as Mom. On the table were papers, bank statements, mortgage documents, credit card bills. "Sit down," Dad said. "Please." I sat. "We've spent the last 3 weeks going through our finances," Dad said. "Everything, every transaction, every payment. We tracked it all." He pushed the papers toward me. I saw my transfers highlighted. Mortgage payments, car payments, utilities, everything. $142,000, Mom said, her voice shaking. "Over 3 years, you paid $142,000 in bills we thought we were paying ourselves." "Yes." "Why?" Dad asked. "Why didn't you tell us?" "I told you. I didn't want you to feel guilty. You were dealing with cancer. I wanted to help. But you let us think you were a freeloader. Let us think you were living here rent-free, contributing nothing. Because if you knew the truth, you would have felt terrible, would have tried to pay me back, would have sacrificed your own needs to repay me. I didn't want that. So you just paid everything, silently?" "Yes." Mom started crying. "We kicked you out on your birthday, called you a freeloader, told you to grow up. And the entire time, you were the reason we still had a house." "Yes. Lauren, I am so sorry. We are so sorry. We had no idea. If you'd known, you wouldn't have kicked me out." "I get it, but you didn't know. You assumed the worst of me, assumed I was worthless, and you treated me accordingly. We didn't think you were worthless." "Yes, you did. You thought I was a failure, a burden, someone who needed tough love to learn how to function. You had so little respect for me that you didn't even ask about my job, my salary, my life. You just assumed I was doing nothing." Dad looked down. "You're right. We did assume, and we were completely wrong. So what happens now?" I asked. "We want you to come home," Mom said. "Move back in. Let us make this right." No, I have my own apartment now, my own life. I'm doing exactly what you wanted me to do, living independently. I'm not moving back, but we can't afford the house without your help," Dad said quietly. "We're going to have to sell, then sell it." "Lauren, you kicked me out to teach me independence. Consider this me teaching you the same lesson. You're adults. Figure it out. That's not fair." "Fair? You kicked me out on my birthday. You called me a freeloader while I was paying your mortgage. You told me to grow up while I was the only one acting like an adult. And now you want me to feel bad that you have to face consequences?" "We made a mistake," Mom said. "A huge mistake. We're sorry. We're so sorry. But please, don't punish us like this." "I'm not punishing you. I'm just not saving you anymore." "There's a difference." I stood up. "I need to go." "Wait," Dad said. "Just wait, please. What can we do to make this right?" I thought about it. "Nothing. There's nothing you can do. You can't unkick me out. You can't take back the things you said. You can't undo 3 years of taking me for granted. It's done. So you're just going to walk away? Never speak to us again?" "I didn't say that, but I'm not going to keep propping you up financially. I'm not going to be your secret safety net while you treat me like garbage." "That's done. We didn't know we were treating you like garbage. That's the problem. You should have known. You should have asked. You should have seen me. Instead, you assumed, and you were wrong. And now you have to live with that." I left, drove home, felt lighter than I had in years. Over the next month, my parents tried everything to get me to help them financially. Phone calls, Texts, emails, voicemails, all variations of the same theme. They were sorry. They were struggling. They needed help. I responded once with a text. I paid your bills for 3 years while you thought I was a freeloader. I'm done. Figure it out. Mom showed up at my apartment. I let her in because she was crying in the hallway and my neighbors were staring. Please, she said, just the mortgage. Just for a few months until we get back on our feet. We'll pay you back. No, Lauren, we're going to lose the house. Then lose it. Downsize. Get an apartment. Do what everyone else does when they can't afford their lifestyle. But that's our home. We've lived there for 30 years, and I paid for it for 3 of those years. Without you even knowing. Without thanks. Without acknowledgement. I'm done, Mom. I know we hurt you. I know we messed up. But we're your parents. Family helps family. I did help. For 3 years. And you kicked me out on my birthday. So forgive me if I'm not rushing to help again. What can we do? To earn your help? Your forgiveness? I thought about it. Sell the house. Downsize. Live within your actual means. Stop assuming your daughter will bail you out. Do that for 6 months. Prove you can handle your own finances. Then maybe we can talk. 6 months? We'll be living in some tiny apartment. Welcome to what most people your age deal with. You are not entitled to a house you can't afford just because you have always had one. Mom left crying. I felt nothing. Nina asked me later, do you think you're being too hard on them? Do you? I don't know. They messed up. But they're your parents. And they did raise you, feed you, support you when you were young. And I paid them back. $142,000. Plus the original 18 years they're supposed to provide as parents. We're even. But they didn't know you were paying. That's not my fault. They should have asked, should have noticed, should have seen me as more than a burden. They didn't. That's on them. So you're really never going to help them again? Not until they prove they can help themselves. 2 months after I moved out, my parents listed their house for sale. I drove by one day, saw the for sale sign on the lawn, felt a weird mix of sadness and satisfaction. That house was my childhood home, but it was also the place they kicked me out of on my birthday. Let it sell. Let them move on. Let them learn what life costs without me subsidizing it. The house sold in 3 weeks. Nice neighborhood. Good price. They probably made money on it. They moved into a 2-bedroom apartment, half the size of the house, a quarter of the cost. Mom posted about it on Facebook, trying to make it sound positive. Downsizing, new chapter, less space, more freedom. But I knew the truth. They'd been forced out, forced to face financial reality. Because I'd stopped paying their bills, I didn't comment on the post. Just watched from a distance as they adjusted to their new life. Dad got a second job, part-time at a hardware store. He was 62, should have been preparing for retirement. Instead, he was working evenings to make ends meet. Mom picked up extra hours at her office job. They were struggling, but they were managing. Exactly what they'd wanted me to do. Learn to stand on my own feet. Now they were doing the same. 6 months after I moved out, Dad called. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. Hi, Dad. Lauren. Hi. How are you? Fine. You? We're managing. The apartment is small, but it's okay. We're adjusting. Good. Silence. Awkward silence. I'm calling because I wanted you to know we've been doing what you said. Living within our means. Both working. Paying our own bills. No help from anyone. Okay. And I wanted to ask if maybe you'd be willing to have dinner with us? Just to talk. No pressure. No asking for money. Just dinner. As a family. I thought about it. Whenever you're free. Your choice. Next Saturday, 7 p.m. But I picked the restaurant. Deal. Absolutely. Thank you, Lauren. Saturday came. I chose a nice but not expensive restaurant. Mid-range. The kind of place that wouldn't strain their new budget. They were already there when I arrived. Sitting in a booth. Looking nervous. I slid in across from them. Hi. Mom said. You look good. The new apartment agrees with you. Thanks. We ordered. Made small talk. Weather, work, nothing heavy. Then over entrees, Dad spoke. We've been talking a lot, your mother and I, about what happened, about how we treated you. Okay, and we realize now. We took you for granted, completely took you for granted. You were living at home, working remotely, and we never asked about your job, your salary, what you were doing. We just assumed the worst. Yes, that was wrong. We should have asked, should have been interested in your life, should have seen you as an adult with a career. not a child who needed tough love. Yes, Mom jumped in. We were so focused on our own stress, your father's health, the bills, everything. We didn't see what you were doing, what you were sacrificing to help us. I didn't need you to see it. I just needed you not to treat me like garbage while I was doing it. We know, and we're sorry. Truly, deeply sorry. Okay, is there anything we can do? Dad asked. To make this right? To earn back your trust? Dad, keep doing what you're doing. Live within your means. Don't expect me to save you. Be actual adults who handle your own problems. We're trying. It's hard, but we're trying. Good. And maybe we could do this more often? Dinner? Family time? I considered it. They looked older, tired, humbled. They'd been forced to face reality, forced to grow up in their 60s. And they were trying, actually trying. Maybe, I said, but I need to be clear. I'm not your safety net. I'm not going to pay your bills. If you can't afford something, that's your problem to solve. We understand, Mom said. We're not asking for money. We're asking for a relationship with our daughter. Okay, then yes, we can do dinner sometimes. Mom started crying. Happy tears this time. Dad reached across the table, squeezed my hand. Thank you for giving us another chance. We don't deserve it. No, you don't, but I'm giving it anyway. We finished dinner. It was awkward but not terrible. When the check came, Dad reached for it. I've got it, I said. No, let me. I make 6 figures. You're working 2 jobs. I've got it. He looked at me, really looked at me, seeing me maybe for the first time. 6 figures? Yes, I'm a senior software engineer. I make $130,000 a year now, plus stock options, plus investments. I'm doing fine. Jesus, we really had no idea. I know, that was the problem. I paid the check. We walked out together. Same time next month? Mom asked hopefully. Sure, I'll text you. I drove home thinking about forgiveness, about whether I'd actually forgiven them or just agreed to dinner. I still didn't know. 3 months into our monthly dinners, something shifted. Dad had quit his second job. Mom had gotten a small raise. They were managing better, still living in the small apartment, but making it work. And they'd stopped treating me like a child, started treating me like the adult I was, asking about my work, my life, my apartment, actually listening to the answers. It was strange, but good. Then during one dinner, Mom brought up the past. Can I ask you something? About when you were paying our bills? Sure. Did you resent us? For not knowing? For not seeing what you were doing? I thought about it, sometimes, but mostly I just wanted to help. I didn't do it for recognition. I did it because you needed it. But then we kicked you out. On your birthday. Yes, that must have hurt so much. After everything you'd done, it did. Why didn't you tell us then? Right then? Why didn't you throw it in our faces? Because I didn't want you to keep me out of guilt. If you wanted me gone that badly, I wanted to go. But I also wanted you to learn the lesson you were trying to teach me. Independence. Standing on your own. Facing consequences. Dad nodded slowly. We learned it the hard way, but we learned it. Good. Can I ask you something else? Mom said, do you think you'll ever forgive us? Really forgive us? I sat with the question, examined my feelings. I think I already have, I said finally. Not because you earned it, but because holding on to anger was exhausting. I forgave you for me, not for you. That's fair. But forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. I forgive you for kicking me out, for taking me for granted. But I'll never forget it happened, and I'll never put myself in that position again. We understand, Dad said, and we don't expect you to. We just want a relationship with you, on your terms. Okay, then let's keep doing this. Monthly dinners, slow rebuilding, see where it goes. We kept doing it. Monthly dinners turned into occasional weekend visits, then holidays together. Our relationship healed, slowly, not back to what it was. That was gone forever, but into something new, something more honest. They treated me with respect now, asked about my work, celebrated my promotions, acknowledged my success, and they never asked me for money. A year after I moved out, I got engaged to my boyfriend, Marcus. We'd been dating for 2 years. He knew the whole story with my parents. When I told them about the engagement, they were genuinely happy. Can we help with the wedding? Mom asked. I know we can't contribute much, but something. You don't have to. Please, let us do something. Not money, but planning, set up, whatever you need. I thought about it. Okay, you can help plan. That would be nice. They did. Threw themselves into wedding planning with an enthusiasm that surprised me. During one planning session, Mom pulled me aside. I know I'll never be able to make up for what we did, kicking you out, taking you for granted, but I want you to know, I'm so proud of you, of the woman you've become, the success you've built, all of it. Thanks, Mom. And I'm sorry we didn't see it sooner. Didn't see you sooner. I know. It's okay. We're okay now. She hugged me, and for the first time in years, it felt genuine. My wedding was beautiful, small but elegant. My parents were there, involved, supportive. Dad walked me down the aisle, cried during his toast. My daughter taught me more about strength and grace than I ever taught her, he said, his voice shaking. I thought I was teaching her independence when I asked her to move out. Turns out, she'd been independent all along. I just couldn't see it. Lauren, I'm sorry it took me so long to recognize what an incredible person you are, but I see it now, and I'm so proud. The room applauded. I cried. So did Mom. After the wedding, Marcus and I bought a house. 3 bedrooms, nice neighborhood, completely within our budget. My parents helped us move in. Dad assembled furniture. Mom organized the kitchen. They didn't ask for anything in return, just wanted to help. It was the relationship I'd always wanted with them, based on mutual respect, not obligation, not resentment, just family. 2 years after they kicked me out, we were having Sunday dinner at their apartment, a tradition we'd started. Dad mentioned they were thinking about moving. The apartment is fine, he said, but we're getting older, thinking about something with a little more space, maybe a small house. Can you afford it? I asked. We've been saving, cut back on expenses. We have enough for a down payment. We'll see what we qualify for. They'd learned, actually learned, to budget, to save, to live within their means. Good for you, I said, and I meant it. A month later, they found a place, 2-bedroom house, small but perfect for them. They could afford the mortgage on their own. They invited me to see it before they made an offer. What do you think? Mom asked as we walked through. I think it's great, perfect size, good bones. Should we make an offer? Can you afford it without my help? Dad nodded. Yes. We ran the numbers 10 times. We can afford it. Then yes. Make the offer. They did. Got the house. Moved in 3 months later. I helped them move again. Carried boxes. Assembled furniture. Celebrated with champagne when everything was unpacked. Thank you, Mom said, for helping us move, for being here. Of course. And thank you for not helping financially. I know that sounds strange, but if you had kept bailing us out, we never would have learned, never would have grown. We needed to face the consequences. I know, you were right about everything. We needed to stand on our own feet. Yeah, you did. 3 years after they kicked me out, they had a stable life, a house they could afford, jobs they could manage, a budget that worked, all without me propping them up. And our relationship was better than it had ever been, because it was based on reality, not on me secretly supporting them, not on them taking me for granted, just honest, mutual respect. It's been 5 years since my parents kicked me out on my 25th birthday. I'm 30 now, married to Marcus. We have a good life, stable, happy. My parents and I have dinner once a week, sometimes at their house, sometimes at mine, sometimes at a restaurant. We have a real relationship now. They ask about my work. I ask about theirs. We talk about life, politics, movies, everything. They've never asked me for money again, not once in 5 years. When they need something, they figure it out themselves. New roof? They saved for it. Car broke down? They bought a used one they could afford. Medical bills? Payment plans? They handle their own problems, like adults, like they should have been doing all along. And I help in other ways, not financially, but with my time, my skills, my support. When Dad needed help setting up his new computer, I spent a Saturday teaching him. When Mom wanted to learn about investing, I explained it to her. That's what family should be. Mutual support, not one person carrying everyone else. People ask me sometimes if I regret the way I handled things, if I should have just told them the truth from the beginning instead of letting them kick me out. The answer is no, I don't regret it. If I'd told them immediately, they would have felt guilty, would have insisted I stay. would have felt obligated to keep me around, but they wouldn't have learned, wouldn't have grown, wouldn't have faced the reality of their financial situation. Letting them kick me out, letting them face the consequences, was the kindest thing I could have done, even though it hurt, even though it was hard. They needed to learn independence, needed to learn to live within their means, needed to learn they couldn't rely on their daughter to secretly fund their lifestyle. And they learned, the hard way, but they learned. Now they're proud of themselves, proud of what they've built, proud that they can afford their own lives. And they're proud of me, not because I paid their bills for 3 years, but because I became successful despite their lack of support. That's the relationship I want, where they're proud of who I am, not what I can do for them. Marcus asks me sometimes if I'm still angry about the birthday thing, about being kicked out. No, I tell him, I was angry for a while, but then I realized they gave me a gift that day: freedom, independence, the push I needed to finally stop carrying them. Even though you were already independent? Especially because I was already independent. I was independent financially, but not emotionally. I was still tied to them, still trying to earn their approval, still sacrificing my own needs for theirs. And kicking you out changed that? Yes, because it showed me they didn't value what I was doing, didn't see me, and that freed me to stop trying to make them see me, to just live my own life. He nods. So it worked out. It did. Just not the way any of us expected. Last month was my 30th birthday. Marcus and I had a party. Invited friends, family, everyone important to us. My parents came, brought a thoughtful gift, stayed late helping clean up. At the end of the night, Dad pulled me aside. Happy birthday, sweetheart. 30. That's a big one. Thanks, Dad. I was thinking about your 25th birthday. 5 years ago. Yeah? That was the worst thing I ever did. Kicking you out. I regret it every day. I know. But I also know it changed things, changed us, made us better. Not right away, but eventually. Yeah, it did. If I could go back, I wouldn't kick you out, but I also wouldn't change what we learned from it. Does that make sense? It does. I feel the same way. He hugged me. I'm proud of you. I should have been saying that all along, but I'm saying it now. I'm so proud of who you are. Thanks, Dad. That means a lot. And it did. Because he wasn't proud of me for paying their bills, or for having a good job, or for making money. He was proud of me for setting boundaries, for demanding respect, for building a life I was proud of. That's the kind of pride that matters. I think about the bank statements sometimes, the ones that showed 3 years of payments, the ones I didn't show them when they kicked me out. I could have thrown them in their faces, could have made them feel terrible, could have used their ignorance as a weapon, but I didn't. I just let the truth reveal itself naturally. Let them discover it on their own. Let the missing payments speak for themselves. That was more powerful than any confrontation, because they couldn't deny it, couldn't argue, couldn't minimize it. The bank statements didn't lie. The missing mortgage payment didn't lie. The reality of their financial situation didn't lie. I didn't tell them. I just let the numbers talk instead. And the numbers said everything. I couldn't. They said, your daughter was supporting you while you called her a freeloader. They said, your daughter sacrificed her own financial future to protect yours. They said, your daughter loved you enough to carry you, even when you didn't see her doing it. And eventually they said, your daughter is done carrying you. Time to carry yourselves. That message, delivered by bank statements instead of angry words, hit harder than any argument could have. Because numbers don't get emotional, don't exaggerate, don't lie. They just show the truth. And the truth was devastating enough on its own. My parents kicked me out on my 25th birthday thinking they were teaching me independence. Instead, they learned it themselves. They learned what it costs to live without a safety net, what it feels like to struggle financially, what it means to stand on your own feet. All the things they thought I needed to learn, they needed to learn more. And I let them, without a word, just let the bank statements do the talking. 5 years later, we're all better for it. They're more responsible, more humble, more aware of what things actually cost. And I'm free, free from the obligation, free from the resentment, free from carrying people who didn't even know I was carrying them. We have a real relationship now, built on honesty, mutual respect, actual communication, not perfect, but real. And that's worth more than any amount of money I paid over those 3 years. They kicked me out to teach me a lesson. Instead, I taught them one, silently, completely. with nothing but bank statements and consequences, and we're all better for it. My parents kicked me out on my 25th birthday, calling me a freeloader who needed to learn independence, not knowing I'd been secretly paying their mortgage, car payments, and bills for 3 years while Dad recovered from cancer. Instead of telling them the truth, I just stopped paying and let them discover it. When their mortgage payment bounced, they lost their house, had to downsize, and Dad got a second job at 62. My extended family says I should have told them immediately instead of letting them struggle, but I think they needed to learn the same independence they tried to force on me. Was I wrong to stay silent and let the bank statements reveal the truth, or did they deserve to face the consequences of their assumptions? Drop your honest thoughts in the comments below. If you believe people should face the consequences of their actions, hit subscribe. I have got more stories of justice that will blow your mind.